Some shocking new numbers on immigration this morning. Customs and Border Patrol reporting more than 180,000 migrants were encountered along the border. That's more than initially predicted by Axios here. In April, we saw 178,000 encountered. The new data just the latest sign of the unrelenting crisis at our southern border. Joining us now to discuss, Chad Wolf, former acting U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security and Heritage Foundation visiting fellow. Good to see you, Chad. Thanks for coming on today. Again, those numbers higher than even anticipated. And yet the other day we heard Vice President Kamala Harris tell migrants do not come. The numbers show the message not landing. What do they really tell you about our current border situation?
Well, that's absolutely correct. So the message that the Biden administration is currently saying about the border is closed, the border is secure, do not come, is not matching the reality on the ground. And the reality on the ground is that there are no policies in place to enforce the border security, to make sure that those individuals that are crossing illegally, there's a consequence to that illegal behavior. Instead, they continue to facilitate this by letting minors and family units and others into the United States after they cross that border. So what it tells me is that we continue to be in the middle of a historic crisis. These numbers, we haven't seen these numbers in over 20 years, and the numbers continue to increase. And as they roll back Trump-era administration policies, they're not replacing them with any type of enforcement policies. So if you're not going to enforce the law on the border, you're going to continue to see these numbers rise month after month.
We saw the vice president head to Guatemala and Mexico City. She did not stop at the U.S.-Mexico border here. Do you think she had an effective trip in solving the current crisis?
No, I don't believe so. I think, she was talking about systemic causes of illegal migration to the United States, which is a multi-year, over decades, trying to solve that problem. Instead, there's a crisis on the southwest border. That's where the time, energy, and efforts need to be focused on solving that, making sure that the communities along that border, the law enforcement and others can address this issue. That's what needs to be the focus, not things that will address this issue in 10 years from now. So I don't believe that the trip was effective, and I think you've seen a lot of that. The messaging that came out of the trip was not effective. Migrants are not listening to government officials at the end of the day. Migrants listen to other migrants who come across that border and remain in the United States. If they remain here, they telephone their friends, their families, and others back home, and you continue to see this unfortunate pattern of historic numbers coming to the border.
We've seen attempted efforts, at least underway from the Biden administration, to reunite migrant families at the border. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki, however, blaming the Trump administration for the current slowdown in the reunification process. Listen.
One of the challenges has been what we walked into, which was a lack of data or tracking for a number of these kids that were separated from their parents when they came across the border over the last few years. But, we're working with a challenging issue related to data that we knew would be the case from the beginning.
So she mentions this data that you're accused of withholding from the Biden administration, the Trump administration, that is. Is that accurate?
Well, first of all, I would say that this administration continues to love to talk about an issue that occurred for 4 weeks in 2018. And anytime you ask them about border security, about what they're doing, they continue to go back and say, well, we're trying to reunite minors that were separated. Again, took place over 4 weeks in 2018. And what they're not talking about are the thousands of families that are separating themselves because of policies by this administration. This administration, DHS officials are even acknowledging that they have witnessed families separating themselves from their children before they get to the border because they know if they send their child across separately, they will stay here. And so the current administration needs to be focused on their policies that are separating families today. It's thousands and thousands of family members that are separating themselves from their minors, from their children today because of the policies of the Biden administration.
Really interesting insight you're bringing to the show today. Chad Wolf joining us live on National Report. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.